Warning, this video contains massive spoilers for the end of Pokemon Journeys. Please watch at your own risk. Good morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR, and welcome back to another video. Ash Ketchum is merely a few episodes away from the fight of his life. Having just defeated Cynthia in the semifinals of the Masters 8 tournament, he will soon face Leon for the title of World Champion. Or World Monarch in the English dub. It's gotta be more British, isn't it? I've already talked extensively about the implications this match could have both on Ash's future and the future of the anime as a whole, but today I want to tell you why I think Ash Ketchum is deserving of being a world champion, or even deserving of finally becoming a Pokemon Master. Again, I know they intentionally keep the criteria for becoming a Pokemon Master very vague so they can just do whatever they want with Ash for as long as they want. I may not be able to tell you what a Pokemon Master actually is, but I can tell you that Ash is in Pokemon Masters. Probably unrelated, but whatever. But basically, Ash has been known as this kickable underdog protagonist for such an ungodly long amount of time that a lot of people who grew up with the anime got accustomed to seeing him lose over and over again, and eventually fell out of the anime because they realized they were watching Groundhog Day in the form of a 30-minute long advertisement, have grown to resent Ash in a way, or claim that he's undeserving of making it this far. And if you are one of the people who just periodically swings back in to check out the highlights of Pokemon Journeys, I don't blame you for thinking that. I mean, come on, for that last match, Ash was playing checkers while Cynthia was playing 4D chess the majority of the time. While it was an intense and entertaining fight, I don't think that that battle or many of the previous battles in this series have properly showcased the skills that Ash has developed over the last 25 years. More often than not, he just uses big move, go boom, and he wins. But hey, we did get to see him use a counter shield again from Diamond and Pearl, so there was at least one welcome surprise there. However, I think anyone who's followed along with this current series knows that Ash has extensively worked with his current team to perfect these big nukes. The Z move he uses with Pikachu was a work in progress throughout almost all of Sun and Moon. Lucario has gotten a plethora of episodes devoted to its training and mastering Mega Evolution. Dragonite is, well, Dragonite is broken. Drinkovish doesn't do anything, actually. He went through the process to unlock Gengar's G-Max ability, and even Sirfetch'd has had to go through trials and training to evolve and master Meteor Assault. Naturally, this series moves at a much brisker pace than the mini-series that precede it, so these moments don't get whole arcs devoted to them, like Ash's Turtwig taking nearly a whole season just to master Energy Ball, or even Oshawott just learning to use Aqua Jet with its eyes open. Sure, this series may not devote nearly as much time to training and development, but it still happens. Kinda like how Ash does go to the bathroom, it's just that they don't deem it necessary to show on screen. And look, I don't really like how this series just glosses it over either, but I'm saying that his Pokemon do get trained even if it's not shown off very much. Personally, I just think that this series places a lot of trust in the viewers to know about Ash's journeys before this one. So what if I told you this wasn't the series that redeemed Ash Ketchum? In my opinion, his redemption took place in the stretch that covered XY and Sun and Moon. XY was a series that showcased Ash's last adventures through a traditional gym challenge in Pokemon League, and in doing so, it presents us with a more experienced and level-headed Ash Ketchum who got to grow alongside his Pokemon more than he ever had before. Something that the Mastering Ash-Greninja arc showed off beautifully. Ash may have ultimately lost the league in this series, but it still served as one last look at Ash at his best when he's doing the traditional gym challenge. Fast forward to Sun and Moon, a slice-of-life comedy-based series without gyms, where at a glance you really wouldn't expect any substantial development from Ash. But Ash didn't need to prove himself as a capable trainer in this series. He already did that in the previous one. In this series, Ash proves himself as both a hero and as a beloved icon, both inside and outside of the show. In the Alola region, Ash is revered for a multitude of reasons, not just for his skills in battle, but also for defending the region against Ultra Beast attacks, aiding his classmates in overcoming their own struggles, and defending the Alola League from the threats of Guzma and Team Skull. Heck, the last Japanese opening of Sun and Moon is literally written as a letter to Ash from the children of Alola thanking him for the lessons he's taught them. This is part of the reason why his win over Gladion to become the Alola League champion isn't this grandiose 6 vs 6 full battle. Him winning the league in this region is secondary to everything he's already contributed. For this reason, I've seen a lot of people give flack to the Alola League for being illegitimate or not upholding the same standards as other leagues, but again, that wasn't really the point, and secondly, Ash still goes on to battle and defeat Professor Kukui and Tapu Koko afterward, and I would say that battle alone proves him to be a deserving champion, no matter what regional league it is. Now, I've discussed Ash vs. Kukui extensively both on my channel shortly after it happened, and also my buddy Zach's channel in his top 25 best anime battles, but there's one thing I always forgot to mention about this fight. It is seemingly written as a redemption for all 6 of Ash's previous league losses. Torracat, in a way, redeems both the Indigo and Johto leagues, being a non-problematic fire starter who, instead of fighting against Ash, fights with him to overcome another fire starter, that being Kukui's Incineroar. Ash's lone, unevolved Pokemon Rowlet, wearing a costume practically mirrors Tyson's Meowth from the Hoenn League. He takes down a legendary with Pikachu again, but unlike his battle against Tobias, Pikachu stands victorious instead of tying. He defeats Kukui's Lucario as a way of sorta making up for how bad the Unova League's ending was. And once again, going back to Torracat, he had to absorb the Blast Burn to win instead of suffering the same tragic fate as Greninja in the Kalos League. Is all that a stretch? Yeah, maybe. But regardless of whether it was intentionally written that way or not, this battle still feels like the perfect redemption for Ash's many past failures. So, I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout, long-winded way is that Ash doesn't need to be redeemed or show his crazy strength in the series because it's already been done beforehand. That may partly be why in this series, Ash's many battles tend to get less spotlight than him and Go just traveling around and researching various Pokemon. Because if you'll recall at the very beginning of this series, before Leon and the PWC were even introduced, Ash was solely focused on learning as much as he could about Pokemon. Just because Go is doing the vast majority of the catching doesn't mean that Ash isn't gaining valuable experience to become a Pokemon master. I think a lot of this animosity towards Ash comes from people subconsciously considering that Ash in every series is a new character that has to build himself back up every time, and again, given the inconsistent writing and numerous resets that Ash's character has been through over the years, I can't say I'd blame anyone for thinking, yeah, DP Ash was way more experienced than BW Ash, making them completely different entities in their minds. I only know that people think this way because I constantly see them talk about it on the demented site known as Twitter.com, where headcanons are more important than reality. But hey, no matter how wildly the writing of the anime fluctuates, to the producers, this is the same character that they've been working with since 1997. And what all has Ash accomplished since then? He's the Orange League champion, the first ever Alola League champion, one of the few to ever collect all 7 Frontier symbols. He's mastered Mega Evolution, Z-moves, and Dynamax. He raised and commanded legendary and mythical Pokemon. He's like the co-savior of Sinnoh, Kalos, Alola, Galar, and lots of other places if you count the movies. And he's never once finished outside the top 16 of any regional league he's competed in. And I know, it's easy for people to say, well, I did that all in the games in less than 20 hours. Look man, just because Ash is an anime protagonist doesn't mean he gets to waltz through life just as easily as the game protagonists do. If anything, Ash is a much more grounded and realistic version of what a person aiming for the peak would struggle through. Because, let's be honest, if Ash were an actual carbon copy of Red, or any other protagonist who was supposed to win every time, we would have all quit watching a long time ago. It would be much fairer to compare him to a long-time professional athlete than the protagonists of the video games. And even most top-level athletes don't have the same incredible track record that Ash Ketchum has. Yeah, I know he's 10, it's a floating timeline, have you ever heard of one? Sure, he hasn't caught them all as he originally hoped to do. It took him way longer to win a regional league than most of us would have hoped, but the fact of the matter is, in the actual anime universe, few characters have a resume more impressive than Ash Ketchum. Sure, we can sit here and debate about how well-trained or deserving his current team is. I know for sure I would have rather seen his ultimate team composed of every one of his previous ace Pokemon, but at the very least we know that his past Pokemon did help contribute to some of his current team members, like Charizard and Fernape and the many other fire types helping Gengar to learn Will-O-Wisp, or Greninja aiding Lucario in using its aura to its maximum potential. But I don't think there's any debate as to whether Ash himself deserves to be here. He deserved to make the Masters 8, and he deserves to be going head-to-head against his fellow regional champions. And I say all this as a person who still doesn't really care for Pokemon Journeys. I still think it's kind of a mess. But it doesn't erase all that Ash has done. I don't know how his battle against Leon is going to turn out, but win, lose, or draw, we'd better be prepared for yet another monumental shift in the way the anime is structured, just like what we went through with both Sun and Moon and Journeys. All I can really say is, be ready for something big. So there you have it, that's my take on the current status of Ash Ketchum's character. Do you agree, disagree, somewhere in the middle? Well, you better agree because today is my birthday, so legally for the next 24 hours, my take is the correct one. And also, now you have to like and subscribe because that would be a dope birthday present, so yeah, thank you in advance, that'd be awesome. And as always, a big thank you to the channel members. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support, and I'll see you guys next time.